Hey, welcome back, welcome back.
Popping, what's good?
Today's going to be a short class because, well, we're getting ready for this retreat, and we're packing up a lot of stuff, and we're still putting together material for the exercises, all the food, snack, drinks, and accommodations are being managed, and so in the interest of being ready for tomorrow, class will end tonight between 8 o'clock and 8:30. And so we're going to move kind of quickly and to jump into stuff. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of seconds to kind of join in and say hello to everybody. And I'm also make sure, Shabisha, did you get the notes? Yeah. Okay, good. I'm going to I'll send to Court Smith.
Okay.
Did you get it?
Not yet, but we can keep going. I'll catch up.
Okay. Anyway, hopefully everybody had a good week. Couple of weeks off. Got some fun stuff I want to talk about tonight before we get started. I think we're going to focus on mainly emotional agility. You still didn't get it? Shabisha, can you forward it to Court, please? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to let everybody just get caught up on some stuff, and then we're going to start rolling. This retreat's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to work on self-awareness, depression, trauma, and also discuss a lot of business strategies, personal strategies, and just be casual. So, if you come into the retreat, pack up sweats or pack up pajamas and just chill. Like don't come all fly because you be by yourself, and leave your heels at home. Get your house shoes on, get your house shoes ready, your flip-flops. Like stay comfortable as possible. Bring your little small blankets. Whatever you're going to bring so you can just be totally, I want you guys to feel like you're at home, hanging out with your circle, and just processing the world. Don't show up to this retreat as if you're trying to win some kind of fashion award, because ain't nobody going to see you. Usually to give you an idea how I pack, I usually bring a pair of sweats. The sweats I come up there in, I probably leave there with because you're just going to drive there and drive out in the same sweats, underwear, T-shirts, and a whole bunch of pair of pajamas, house shoes, socks, because it does get cold, lotion, or some kind of oil for your body because you are in Tahoe, just some insights. We're going to have plenty of drinks, plenty of snacks, plenty of food. So don't bring anything to eat. If you have a teddy bear, some of you guys may need teddy bears. Hey, Tone Vic, do what you got to do. But the point is this, just come comfortable, just come comfortable. I heard Tone Vic be sleeping with a teddy bear, but I ain't going to bring that up because, just between me and you, I don't think nobody else listened to us. Anyway, with that being said, let me jump into this first slide. I want to test this slide because I'm going to disrupt some things. If you guys... This is one of the slides, just pause for a second. And this is critical what I'm going to address. I'm going to address the mental model of evolution. Now, evolution mental model, I'm not going to go completely all the way into it, but I'm going to kind of tap a particular angle on evolution mental model, because the evolution mental model is kind of a broad mental model. It's not a narrow mental model. And it's based upon human evolution. Also, the process of natural selection. What we discovered, in modern day society, we're losing reality gravity. We're starting to become really light. And we're starting to view life almost like we're no longer human, right? And so what I mean by viewing life, we're human. We're disconnecting from human nature. Yet human nature is not disconnected from reality. So us disconnecting from human nature means that we're disconnecting from our motivations and our whys. We're disconnecting from human nature, right? For example, that's like you saying you go into a wilderness and you're a city person and you think you could just live the way you live in a city in the middle of the wilderness and wonder why the wilderness takes your life because you don't honor that you are now under the rules of Mother Nature. Well, as a human being, you're still under the rules of Mother Nature. You just can create these temporary mirage of life itself. But evolution has these really, really strict rules. And evolution doesn't give a shit about your belief, who you are, how long you've been here, your bloodline, how much money you have. Evolution says at some point, if you don't keep up, you will go extinct. It's a basic rule. If you don't keep up, you go extinct. Evolution itself is very, very, very brutal. It doesn't care about your stories. It doesn't care about, I sacrificed for so many people, I don't understand why we're going extinct. As well as the rules of evolution says that everybody is capable of going extinct. Everybody is capable of going extinct. A matter of fact, there's more animals that are extinct than there's animals living, right? There are human races that are extinct that we will never meet. There's human groups that are extinct that we'll never. There's versions of sapiens that were here before us. I think like 5 different sapiens that were here before us. That there's no evidence of them anymore. Life does not care. The world does not care about what you stand for, how long you've been here. It don't care if you're from Africa, African American, white, Japanese, Jewish. If you're not protecting yourself from going extinct, you will eventually go extinct. This is a rule of life. Rule of life. Now, what does that mean? Let's translate this idea into business. Human nature, all humans' natural nature is for all of us to always improve. That's human nature. Human nature is always improving at all times. It's always moving forward. So let's say you're in a race and you're growing your business. Let's say you get to the front of the race where you're the number one business in your niche. If you relax, your competition by nature will pass you up. In human existence, one of the things they tell you when you have a job is you should retire when you finish working so you can retire and chill. And it says this idea as presidents that when you retire, the goal is just to chill and then just wait your time out, right? But evolution says there's no such thing. You have to always be moving forward. If you're not moving forward, you die. He says again, if you're not moving forward, you die. So when I first started dating my wife, I have one rule, one hardcore rule that's non-negotiable. So what's that? The household must always be progressive. Once the household start moving forward, we die. We die. We're literally going to die as a couple, right? By 10 Media, you can never rest on your past successes. I don't care what you've done in the past. If you stop moving, you die. I don't care if you've been in the game for 30 years and been rich as hell. If you stop moving, you die. If you're an artist and you're making music, if you stop growing, you die, right? Now if you listen to what I just said, does gentrification make any sense? Because gentrification suggests you thought if you could just chill, other groups would not grow. So as they grow and came to grab your land, they only were able to grab your land because you stopped moving. Gentrification is not a flaw of white people. It's letting us know that we don't have a plan on how to move forward. A non-progressive people, many of our complaints that we have with white folks in the world around us is not necessarily white people, it's our lack of progression. Here's the funny part. You might say, well, white people killed so many black people, and so has Mother Nature. Mother Nature gives not a shit. If you don't live, if you don't move, Mother Nature will literally kill you off, because as other people grow, ultimately because we share resources, other human beings will at some point threaten your existence. Mm-hmm. You must always be moving forward. You know how people say cultural appropriation? If you're not moving forward, the group that's moving forward will take what you have to help them move forward, right? You don't get to rest. So a lot of times we think about like what happened in the past, what happened in the history of African Americans, and we say, you know, we've been fighting for so long, we just need to chill. Let this train go by.
Oh man, it's gonna be another one of them nights, huh?
Yeah, it's gonna go there. I'm gonna go all the way. So ultimately, as a person, let's say you living in life. Let me hit y'all in the gut real quick. So one of the number one flaws in this class, one of the most damaging things that we witnessed in this class is a lot of people don't feel like they're good enough. That's the most common illness that we've seen by hosting this class for 6 years. But here's the funny part. Value is not given to you by others. Value is what you create. Meaning, if you are always moving forward and you're always growing yourself and you're always investing in the world around you, other human beings see you as valuable. Mm-hmm. If you're idling and you're not pushing yourself to go forward, you're disappearing. You're dying. Meaning you could die and no one would even give a shit. Mm-hmm. Because you're not moving forward. If you want to be more valuable in this world, white folks don't get to dictate your value. Your mama don't dictate your value. Your son, your daddy don't dictate your value. The only dictates your value is you. And if you're not moving forward, you don't produce value. So now we're in a social justice world that says, hey, guess what? Even if you don't move forward, it's okay. No, it's not okay. It's human nature. Because human nature is fucking brutal. It doesn't give a fuck about safe space and the emotional needs and I need a hug and No. Evolution says, I don't give a fuck.
Hey, can I just quickly, because you're killing it right now. I just thought about Christians, right? Evolution. And that's just completely anti. Listen, you got to have and thinking, not or thinking. You got to have and thinking and not or thinking. Evolution is a fact. Evolution is a fact. Not saying that the Bible's version there isn't truth to that either. It's just you have to adopt both thinking, because progression and evolution of humankind happens before your eyes. It happened in the history that you know. Even in the Bible that you have, if you open your Bible and go to 1 Corinthians, Thessalonica, Ephesians, where are those people now? They're gone. It's over. So white people killed them off too. And they're the newer version of those people that got absorbed in the system, got absorbed because they couldn't evolve beyond the stronger versions of them. So evolution is happening. Whether you agree or not agree, that shit is happening. We are better versions of our parents, and our parents are better versions of us. And that's happened thousands of years going back. So just know that this term that we're talking about, if you just turn off that, turn that shit off and understand that progression and evolution is part of how humans continue to survive.
So in our culture, we always say, we need to go back to the way it used to be. Evolution says that's not possible. Mm-hmm. Evolution says if you go back to the way you used to be, you will die off. There's so many more rules of evolution, from being able to be adaptable, to ecosystems, to niches, to generalization. There's a whole bunch of other rules we can get into. But the reason I want to hit this point so strong is because some of you guys are stuck between, do I want to push myself or do I want to stay comfortable? Staying comfortable is death. So when you run around and say, I don't feel good about myself, no, slow down. You don't feel good about yourself because stop blaming outside forces. You don't feel good about yourself because internally the choices you made. If you decide not to move forward, you will naturally deteriorate as a human being. Your spirit will die. Your motivations will die. Your dreams will die. Your relationship's going to die. Your children can possibly die. You understand? Evolution is so motherfucking cold. And so even listen to our culture, because we're children of slaves, we have too much language in our culture that suggests that we're supposed to just be comfortable, just chill, just relax.
The switcher just cut off for some reason.
Well, switcher's cut off.
Yeah. So the computer's on, the switcher is not.
No, we got it.
Everything's plugged in.
I want to check one more.
Shibisha, could you let people online that the switcher just cut off?
Okay, it's back on.
All right, it's on. All right.
Oh, something's going with the cord. Hold on a second.
There's a short nip.
I think so. Hold on.
Yeah, just tell them we'll be online in like at least 10 minutes. All right, let's see what that one's plugged in. Let me run it.
Is it plugged in?
I want to run it and see which one. All right, so it's this one.
Plugged in?
I'm just tracing the cord right now.
It just came on with the phone.
All right, so it's this guy right here. This is plugged in. All right. So
Okay, do it again? Whatever. It just came back on. It's fully on now.
extension cord.
Who put in the extension cord?
That is a good question, right? That is not I. I prefer that
Okay.
not.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
Check.
Yeah, it should be good in about a few seconds.
Way to be calm, Josh.
That's actually improvement.
You should have stomach ache more often.
Yeah. Yeah. You should call her and say thank you. Anyway, okay. Good. We okay, Shibisha? All good. Okay, good. Let me go back to evolution. So, hopefully you guys understand this whole idea of trying to get somewhere and chill as opposed to get comfortable with motion. Like getting comfortable with motion is your best selection. Even aging, I watch people age. I'm 54, and I work out, train, cycle. Yesterday I was running stairs. And I got friends who are 54 who just can't wait to go home and chill. You should see the difference in the way they look and the way I look. Because they chose to try to stop and rest. You see people dying faster from that. You see health problems occur from that. We're designed, life itself is designed for always moving forward and always adapting. If you're too rigid in your ideas, you will be broken. Because life changes. See, a rigid idea works when there's no change. But when life changes, you're the first to die off. And so by being adaptable and moving forward, you grow and you survive. I see some people running a business and they just get used to this the everyday routine. You know, you just get used to doing the same routine to the point that you almost get disturbed if somebody says, let's change. Change? What do I want to change for? As opposed to every year I sit down, me, Court, and Mashama, we take a trip. When we take a trip, we say, how do we reinvent ourselves for the next year? How do we continue to grow and move ourselves forward? I don't care how well you did the year before. The year before doesn't guarantee the next year. Even if you have a job right now, you're making really good money. You're under this illusion that it's going to be like that for a long time. Evolution says that's not possible. It's not possible. So if the job someday cuts your position, you can't be mad at the job because you didn't follow the rules of evolution. This is what, like, we don't forget. Or let's say you start a business and you, like, your product is moving and you killing it. And all of a sudden, you just get comfortable with that. Your ego starts telling you, this is, you the woman, or you the man, or you killing it right now, right? And because you're not already trying to reinvent yourself for the next year, don't be surprised competition comes in and just kills it. I even see it in the marijuana industry where they think, oh, because we're legal now, we could just run hard and work harder than the person next to us. Evolution says, I don't care how hard you work. I don't care. The rule of evolution, and evolution is a slow process. It's not like like you can have genocide by evolution, but it's a slow process. For example, destruction by evolution is, give you an example. The other day I was reading the news. Did you know that for the first time since the 70s, blacks are no longer the dominant race in Atlanta anymore? They're down to 47% now. And they've been declining. Now, black folks are like, oh my God, white people coming in and they're getting mad at white people. Evolution says once that city came online and it was prospering, somebody's coming. And if you don't run harder to keep that position, and you don't get smarter and more adaptable and more creative and keep a focus of we got to keep moving forward, but once you get comfortable, this is the rule of life. This is a basic rule of life. It's almost like a kill or be killed type situation where if you're not moving forward, once you build something that's attractive or gains momentum, others are coming. And the day you start thinking you are the shit because you built the momentum and was heavily celebrated within that year, once you stop that drive, this is why a lot of great artists die after they receive big awards. Right? You see this all the time. Like they used to say that one of the fastest way to kill off a top restaurant is give them one of the top restaurant awards. Because once they get that award, they start thinking, oh, we were a Michelin restaurant, so let's just keep doing what we do really, really well. And we don't realize that everybody gets better. Everybody's going to get better. And so at one point you were A, and next thing you know, you're B, next thing you know, you're C, next thing you know, you're old school, next thing you know, nobody wants to go there no more. It's a hole in the wall. This is the rule of life. And black folks, I used to say back in the days when me and Mashama was working at our desk next to each other, I say, one of the biggest crimes of the black community is we don't have a black government. People say, what do you mean? Why is that a big crime? Because the purpose of a government is to keep the system moving forward. With black people, we're idling amongst the people who are moving forward. That's very genocidal. That's genocidal.
True.
And so every time you hear about these, this is unfair, look, if you were to go back and look at history, just look at history. A lot of things that white people did was unfair. We could have a different story if we had a hell of a forward-moving system. Because, you're going to take some losses in moving forward. But what makes so in evolution, what makes you strong is not rigidity, is resilience. The ability, how fast can you take a hit, a blow across the jaw, and then bounce back, right? Because if you can't, because the faster you can bounce back, the more you can continue to exist. And so if you listen to the way these conversations are happening, we're almost in a position where here's a group of people who are telling a story of being very, very progressive. And we had progressive systems. But the thing that's made me scared in my lifetime is when I was a kid, the community almost echoed in your ear, you gotta be something. You gotta be this because black people, this is what Martin died for, this is what Malcolm died for, this is what our ancestors died for, this is what you gotta be. And you get in this modern day culture, and guys are living for just wealth and status. That's a culture of death. That's not a culture of life. Try and go by real quick. Once you understand the laws of evolution, the world looks totally different around you. Now you can see, if you're in a relationship and the person's like, I just want to do, I don't really care about nothing else, I just want to do this for the rest of my life. And then you commit to them. And then later you say, I feel like I'm trapped because I'm with this person. Of course you're trapped. Because this person is not moving forward. Moving forward doesn't have to be, no one gets to dictate what exactly that looks like. because it is about adaptability and creativity and how it's so many options. But someone who's trying to idle, chill, relax, maintain the same, don't want to change much, is dead. You're dying. You're dying source. And this is so important when running your business. You think about business in the sense of, how am I moving forward? How am I moving this business forward? And if you can't conclusively explain to me how you're moving that business forward, I don't care where you are in your business growth cycle, you're actually going, even with your money, right? It's proven. If you don't make your money move forward based on interest and the cost of living, you're losing money every day.
Yeah, if your money's just sitting in the bank and you're scared to do anything with it, at the end of the year, it's down 3%. It's down 3%. I fucking love this topic. This topic, if you wrap your mind around it and you accept it, then it's a life changer for you, because adopting this makes you feel like, shit, nobody's subsidizing me. I got to get on, and I got to stay on, and I got to keep improving. It creates a little bit of scarcity, just a healthy amount of scarcity, to be like, I can't stay still. It creates sitting duck effect. Like, I can't be this sitting duck. As soon as you get a win, or as soon as you're doing something well, you're thinking about the next. Thinking about progression. What can I do to get better? How can I get better? I know they coming. As soon as you get a win and people know, I know they coming. I just inspired hella people. I know they coming. And there's some kid that's sharper, faster, smarter. So I got to find a way to elevate and use my space between them and me to continue to progress. If not, then you're going to get caught. Like, there's no remember Great Western Bank? The blue and the white, you could walk into that shit is gone. Like, there's so many examples of people, countries, nations, companies that are straight gone. And they were giants of their time. Giants in their mind, and in our hearts and mind, we thought this is a forever thing. So, man, it's like, this shit is invigorating because it's real. And some people know this and they're afraid. This is what causes some people to even play this game, because they're like, well, shit, I got this great idea, and as soon as I put it out, everybody's going to copy it. So let me send everybody an NDA. So let me tell you about my idea. Let me give you an NDA. You have even started it yet? No. Do you have a proof of concept? No, but you're going to make me sign an NDA, because they're so afraid, and they sitting on this idea. Guess what? The universe is so not give a fuck. That idea is going to pop in somebody else's head.
That's the rule of life.
Because that's how life works.
That's the rule of evolution, yes. Yes.
There are some animal species that if there are no males around, they are able to produce and fertilize their own eggs. Because that's the rule, because that's how the game nature works. So don't sleep on shit. You got to keep it rocking.
Yeah, it's evolution. It's just really... It doesn't care about what you're thinking right now. It doesn't care about your views right now. It doesn't care about your values. It doesn't care about your ethnicity. If you're not evolving, you die. It's a rule that you think you can think it away because you watch TV or you're on social media and you think your opinion matters so much, you could change the game. But evolution says, if you're just not growing. And so this is why to say white people should not grow, they're surviving. They survive. They understand slavery and oppression and colonialization broke us from having a natural, healthy relationship with evolution. And so in today's day, like, we always talk about the past as if it's so important, and evolution says, nah, the past is like a rear view mirror. You only look in your rear view mirror to go forward. The rearview mirror is not for you to keep your eyes in it while you drive forward. And evolution says if you're not moving forward, you die. If you're rigid, you die. If you can't adapt, you die. Mm-hmm. And these are rules that goes against so many of us who are walking through this life thinking about, even when you think about destination, when we get here, there's no here.
Fuck, this is so dope.
There's no here.
Bruh, this is so fucking dope. Let's talk even more Bible. because Chris just inspired me. He walked in. You think about the one analogy in the Bible where the slave master gives his 3 slaves money to go out and bubble, right? So if you think about the story, none of them took a L. Nobody took a L. The one that got cussed out, I don't know if he got cussed out. It's not because he lost the money. It's because he was too afraid to go out there and try to bubble it. Hey, you gave me only just, a little bit amount. I think it was 1. So, you know what? I just buried it. So because I was protecting you, and he was like, you probably cussed his ass out in that language because you called him a wicked and slothful slave. So you think about that. Because you're not progressing or progressive, then you're wicked, which translates to the same shit that's being talked about, is that if you're not growing, you're dying.
Think about that. We're complaining about gentrification because we're not moving. That's a warning sign. That's a canary in the cave saying, hey, black people, we're in a bad space. That we care that somebody is taking our stuff because we don't have a plan. When I go to East Oakland, I don't see a plan. I don't see progression. I don't see an energy saying we got to move forward. How do we move our race forward, our culture forward? And instead, we're still trying to say, why aren't you duplicating Malcolm, Elijah, Martin, Marcus, right? As opposed to, no, who are we going to become next? Who are we going to become next? Where do we go next with this? Where's the next? Holding on to traditions is dead, is death. Traditions have to always be evolving forward. It doesn't mean it can't take cues from the past, but if it's not moving forward, you're practicing an act of death.
Yo, Mark Zuckerberg is creating a digital world. And Nike just was getting patents and all that shit for their products so that they can have products in that digital world. Shit's moving without you. Things are progressing without you. So now not only can you have Nikes in real life, but you can have Nikes in this digital life because shit's moving and people can fight against it, but at the end of the day, you'll just be a dinosaur that's going to die off.
And here's the thing too. If you are people who are not practicing evolution, the rules, so if you're not practicing the rule of evolution, which is always growing and always moving forward, if you are dead and asleep and other people are moving forward, they will seem like they're working, they will see like they're children of gods because you won't even see where they're coming from. You can't predict. It's almost like we live next door to white people, but we're sleeping. We're sleeping giants because we could be giants, easily be giants. But when you sleep and they continue to move forward, their innovations, because they've been moving forward, will seem, just like, okay, for example, have you ever met somebody who was super, super, super smart? You're like, oh my God, this person's amazing, right? Great accomplishments, right? But when you see them, you're looking at the outcome or where they are in their stages. You don't see all the movement, right? And so if you're not moving like they're moving, they seem bigger than God to you. Like, oh my God, they must have aliens, or they must know some secret science, or they must have some secret knowledge. No, they were moving forward when you weren't. I can make it even simpler. Let's say you get out of shape and you go train with Usain Bolt. You won't even make it past 30 minutes of the workout. Why? He's going to seem godly to you because you're not moving forward. So white people are overexalted because we're not moving forward. They're not special. They're just a human being just like you. But they seem insurmountable because you can't see the game they're playing because they're moving forward and you're not. Because as you move forward, there's a download of knowledge and growth and insight and awareness that comes along because as you're moving forward, everything around you is evolving. You're staying connected with reality as it evolves. And so as when the ship turns right, you're turning right with it, as opposed to you way back here on landmass. And you're like, I don't understand what's happening in front of me. Of course you don't. And if you listen to the language that we use in our culture, it is non-forward moving dialogue. We don't reward moving forward. We speak about often staying in your place. Go ahead.
You preaching tonight. You preaching.
This is my favorite class this week. No, seriously, it is. Because one of the thing that I think is the most genius thing about this is that your ability to make like what we think is a mountain a pencil. Like really, really crazy, what is really like high level business strategy stuff or things that big companies use. You boil it down to the fundamentals so that people can see how to apply it in multiple different places. And when you were talking about growth and about like not moving forward, I was like, shit, I saw like my brain was like, I saw 5 places that I'm not pushing myself to grow, like immediately. I was like, oh shit, I'm not doing that here. Cool, I see that. So this is just me saying like, oh shit, thanks. I didn't see that. The other thing I wanted to say is we did a workshop and there's this book by this guy, Trend Hunters. It's a double-sided book. The first side is making the case for growth. And he's going through all of the reasons why, but he does it using business examples. And the other side of the book is then how do you grow in chaos, right? So, but it's workshop-centric and is built to help clients walk through that process. But one of the things that he says is that if you cannot name the 5 companies that could disrupt you, then you're in trouble. Because you're not paying attention and you're assuming, one of the first things he said is that you're assuming that it's always going to be like this. So I'm just bringing that up to say it's a really high level principle. Big companies don't do it. And the fact that you're touching on it here by using the example of evolution is just making like stuff that seems really big and unattainable hella approachable. And it's a thank you, and I'm sitting here like, oh shit, I see some things for me. So thank you, and I just wanted to offer that.
Right on. And I think it's so important folks know that any part of your life where you feel impotent, weak, not good enough, it's because you're not moving forward. That's it. If you don't feel like you're not good enough at work, you're not moving forward enough. Like for example, you say, my company doesn't treat me fair. What's your forward moving plan? Because if you have a forward moving plan, you don't even need that company no more. See, you put so much value in yourself. Now, people are bidding for your asset. But if you're not moving forward, you're just at that job, just doing your work every day, working hard, and just taking instructions from them. They tell you to do something, you do it. And you do it accurately, you do it fast, you're the first one there, you're the last one to leave, and guess what? You have no value. And the reason you have no value is because at the end of the day, the reason you have no value is because you haven't invested in yourself. Moving forward is a self-invest. How can I become better than I was the day before? And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to reinvent yourself daily. You can do it in increments. Look, personal value is small things that can increase your value over time. So for example, let's say you at work and a problem comes up and you're like, hey, let me try to figure that problem out. And you learn how to solve that problem. The team looks at you and goes, damn, you solved that problem. The team now just raised their value in you. And the more you do that, they'll start to talk to you different. They start to approach you different. They start to pay you different. They start to ask you different questions. But if they're not asking those questions, it's not because they're racist or they don't give a shit about you or it's a dog-eat-dog world. It's because you're not moving forward. So you compounded no personal value. So at the end of the day, people treat you like you ain't shit. You feel it, and then you come in my class and go, no, I just don't feel like I'm good enough. And then I look at your life and realize you don't do shit that's worth that. Call yourself good enough. Because you own that conversation. I don't own that conversation. I can tell you ain't shit, but I can tell Michael Jordan all day long, you ain't shit. And he'd be like, boy, get out of my face. Like, who the fuck are you, right? It doesn't mean it because he's invested in himself so much, he's here, right? I can tell Obama you ain't shit. He don't hear me. But I can tell you ain't shit, and you got to go home and go talk to your counselor because you're not self-investing. You're not moving forward. And so whatever part of your life that matters, anything that you say, this matters to me. If you're in a relationship and you're like, our relationship is dull, okay, how are you moving forward? Do you reinvent your relationship every year, or are you just expecting to be there every year? Do you take your children, your wife, your husband for granted? You can't take, evolution says, never get comfortable anywhere you are in life. I don't give a shit if you got 10 million in the bank, don't get comfortable. The rule of evolution says if you don't move that 10 million and constantly grow, you can lose it that fast. As basketball players, as football players. These are individuals who didn't have a forward-moving plan around their money, and they went broke. Because as you're moving, as you're spending and you're moving, because life is always moving, and as life is moving, it's absorbing your growth. It's absorbing your resources. It's absorbing your personal value. It's absorbing your spirit. It's absorbing your life itself. So moving forward is not even resting on your accomplishments. Resting, period, is not an option for a living animal, for living anything. If you're living, I'm talking about down to cells. If you're not moving forward, this universe, this world we live in, removes you. It's just the way it is. Just the way it is. Sorry, I can't pamper you through real life. And if I lie to you, all I'm doing is helping you die fast. I'm like Novocaine. I'm going to make you feel good in the head, but you're dying. And you start blaming the world because you don't have enough oxygen when you walk in the streets. You start blaming the world because your knees are going out. You start blaming the world because your bank account's broke. You start blaming the world because you don't have a job. You start blaming the world. You blame everything around you, not realizing it's a choice you made not to move forward. Even in, okay, here we go. Many of us are depressed and traumatized because we can't move forward. You can't stay there. I'm sorry, you can't stay there. Now, when you're in it, you're in it. But when you're out of it, you have one choice. Because the more you try to go back, the more you destroy your mental health. In all cases, you have to move forward. Now you guys see why I told my wife when I first met her, day one, I'm talking about this, we ain't even went on a date. Hey, we date, rule number one, if we're not progressing, I'm out. I had a girlfriend, going back to your point, she was the safest, most saving money, most waiting to retire, most, I don't think her phone bill was ever over $9, or PG&E probably was never over $30, just the most conservative. I would go to her house, and I'd get to her house around 4 o'clock. I would be asleep for the night at 6 because she was so boring. Boring. And I tried to hang in there because she didn't do anything else bad, but I realized the reason I couldn't be with her, she wasn't moving forward. She was just this dying, safe-ass animal that was safely sitting there, and she eventually started becoming sour about so much stuff about the world that she became a sour person. And to this day, when I talk to her, I can't talk to her more than 2 minutes because she's just too sour. And it ain't about me and her. She's just sour because she's not moving forward. Don't blame the world. Don't blame white people. Don't blame. Nature says if you're not moving forward, it will kill you. Nature has killed more black people than white people. That's real talk.
If I had a high heel, I got on sneakers, it would be hard to take it off and throw it at you. But if I had, I would throw it. Pow.
Yeah, real talk.
Any get questions
That's
online before we
good
go on
shit.
to everything else? Huh?
Good
Okay,
shit.
good.
Good shit. Good shit.
Good. Let's jump into emotional agility. Ready to start with?
E-myth.
You know, E-myth? Oh, she gave us E-myth, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, do me a favor. Jump to Josh. I wanted to do emotional. Let's just skip E-myth. Yeah, go all the way down to emotional agility. Give me a second. Let us catch up on slides.
Online.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is from Kaja.
What's up, folks?
She says, how does constant forward movement impact staying connected to and valuing the present? Can always thinking about forward movement be a form of escapism?
No. Okay. You're talking about anxiety, which is the fear of the future. You're too far in front of yourself. Forward movement, what are you doing today? Because tomorrow you can't. Okay, here's something about innovation. I'm gonna share something with you guys that I think that also another thing that we say all the time that doesn't make any sense. You don't practice creativity or science for a destination. Meaning you don't say, hey, we need to invent this thing, so let's just go into the lab and create it. The way innovation works is you play and you discover things, and then you stockpile it, and over time you go, oh, this might work with this idea because we have this need now that just popped up, right? But because what science has to do is not focus on destination, it just has to focus on being curious. By them asking questions, so NASA is designed, so as we stay in space and we go back and forth and we learn more and more and more, we don't know what problem in life is going to come up because evolution says things always change. And when it does change, do you have the tool that's necessary to get you through that stage? Otherwise, you can perish. So part of being a healthy group of people is you have to always be in discovery mode. So when things flip, even in a business, if your business is not always learning new stuff, if your business flip, you die because you don't have there's no value there no more, right? As society changes. So you have to always be discovering. So presently, are you showing up curious? How well are you being curious? Who are you talking to? Because the people around you is also shaping your perception. So how you're showing up every day then matters more than ever in your presence, right? As opposed to if you think about destination focus. I mean, I'm trying to do this, so I got to get ready for tomorrow so I can do this. You can get so far in front of yourself to the point that you're no longer present. So for example, let's say, give you another example. Let's say you went to the gym every day to work out. And you had a picture on the wall of maybe you when you were 21 and you were like playing football. And you're like, yo, I'm trying to get back to that. And say you're 35. If you go to the gym every day and you look at that picture, you probably won't get back to that weight. You say, what do you mean? Any trainer will tell you, it's not about just going to the gym. It's about focusing when you're at the gym. Focusing. Being aware of how your muscles feel. Being aware of how much are you pushing yourself? When are you mentally limiting yourself? If you're not present enough to show up to that day, the chances of you showing up for tomorrow is close to none, right? Also, the idea, you focusing on tomorrow is you trying to create a through line of perfect reality. Reality is so random and so inconsistent that tomorrow may look nothing. Matter of fact, tomorrow you might need to be chubby. Tomorrow you might need to be skinny. Tomorrow you might need to be muscular, right? So by you focusing on that idea is you assuming you have the ability to predict tomorrow, which you don't. So the present is really your only option to maximize life. And if you show up every day to your present, then it starts to create this energy and this existence of who you are from how you show up every day that people reflect on. What you often see with people is they're so busy focusing on who they want to become, they even fake it till they make it, and they disconnect from who they are, and don't realize you never did anything to be what you think you are. So a lot of times, like you might be somebody who's working on being successful. So they'll wear the clothes, they'll drive the cars, they hang around successful people, but they don't do successful shit because they're so busy caught up in the idea of getting there, they forget that, because here's another perfect example. Here's another one. You ever meet those women in the office? Because usually women, some men do it sometimes, but mostly women when I used to be in the office, that they hit 30, 31, and they start gaining weight really, really fast. And they start going to like the cleanse diets, the fruit diets, the starvation diets, the Akan, whatever that shit, the one where you eat no carb diets. Was it Atkins diet? They do all these fancy ass diets. And you ever watch them about 5 years later, they're the biggest ones in the office? Because they try to do a shortcut, right? It's the one who gets up every day and leaves the office and goes to work out, quietly to himself, and they keep training. You may one day say, hey, you have a great body. Oh, I've been training. I run marathons. They're present. So you trying to shortcut because you're stuck on a vision is just as destructive. Ultimately, you have to be present day to day and fully engaged. And as you engage, you have to also become aware of self, because let me tell you a thing about self. Let's say you start working out on Kaja and you go to the gym every day. I don't give a shit what your inspiration and what your fantasy is and what you believe in. It's how you feel every day you have to conquer. That's the part of your personality that starts to talk to you. It's that voice that starts saying, you're tired. And then they send some energy to your eyes start to burn, right? You yawn a couple times. It's just a clock. I don't like going to the gym. Shit, I'm sitting on this couch. Shit, I'm hungry too. Man, my stomach's starting to act up a little bit. God damn, okay, I'm going to go tomorrow. I'll go tomorrow. Right? And you let that voice continue to win. And then you're 20 pounds heavier the next year. But in your mind, you're stressed out. Because you're so busy focusing on tomorrow, you didn't show up to how you felt at that moment that day. So you got to be so into self and hearing yourself talk and being able to have conversations and talk yourself off of ledges and tell that liar, because you have a part of you that lied to you all the time. It tells you what you can't do. Like when I ride heels, every time, the first 5 minutes of climbing a hill, my brain has convinced me it's the worst idea I've ever made in my life. It's always telling me I'm going to run out of oxygen, I'm going to die, your muscles are going to cramp up. What if you fall over and the car hits you? It just comes up with and I'm not even playing with this. My brain literally does this for the first 5 minutes of every intense cardio workout. And about 15 minutes into it, I'm into it like, so tomorrow I'm gonna do this. And I'm in the steeper part of the hill. Because my body finally made an adjustment to it. But my brain always starts it's like the what they call it, the public defender. He's making this whole case of why I can't climb. Right? So if you're in the future, you'll lose track of the power the friction of life. The friction of life is how you show up every day.
Hey, in real progression, true progression is deeply rooted in reality, because you can't progress off of a thought or an idea. You have to progress off of the reality of whatever it is. So true progression, if you want to live this progressive life, it has to be rooted in reality, because what are you progressing from? You take the idea of compound interest, right? Compound interest is what Einstein says is like one of the wonders of the world. It's when you take something and it flips again and it flips again and it flips again, and it can be the smallest number, but 18 steps later is huge. Compound interest is how everything in nature is made. It's how we're made. One cell doubles to 2 cells. But it had to double from the 1 cell. It got its blueprint from the reality of cell number 1. So anytime you think about being progressive, it has to be in the now. Okay, how can I get better? Better than what? Better than I am now. Well, what am I now? Here are the facts. Here's the reality of the now. Shit, I'm 3 pounds, I'm 20 pounds, I'm 15 pounds overweight. My blood pressure is at this number. What is my goal to get here? Okay, so how can I get better today? Even if that's just doing a micro, just getting a tiny bit better than I was yesterday. That's all that matters. But it has to be rooted in reality. In your business, if you're leaking money, or if you having issues with your personnel, or you're not selling as much, how can I sell more? More than what? More than the $14 that I made today. The $14 is your reality. So the two can't coexist. The two can't not exist together. They have to exist. Anything else, you bullshitting, you lying, you creating some shit, or you're in fear. You're afraid. You're playing a fear game. So understand that if you're not dancing between both, then it's bullshit anyway.
And matter of fact, let me reinforce your point more, that reality is the only judge of progress. That means, let's talk about what is social realism. Social realism is it requires 2 or more people to agree upon it for it to be real. So it's not real, but the only way it can be real is that other human beings have to agree upon it. That means if who you are only exists in conversations of your friends, it's probably not real. If I say, all my friends say I'm the shit, okay, what in your world says you the shit? Do your kids say you the shit? Do your bank account say you the shit? Does your wife say you the shit? I mean, are you showing up in a way that you perform in a house where another man will look at you and go, oh my God, look at the things you've done for your house, based upon your definition of a woman or man or whatever, right? Look at your bank account. If you're performing your business and you're killing it, does your bank account say you're killing it, or does your bank account say that, hey, you're glad to be alive? Or does your bank account say is it really you're a nonprofit, even though you're a profit? Right? If you saying, hey, I'm really healthy, does your lungs say you're healthy? Does your muscles say you're healthy? Does the weight say you're healthy? Does that thing that you're going to jump over or that boxing match you're going to jump in, did you win? If you didn't win, let's cut the talk out. And it's okay. Okay, it's okay to entertain ourselves, but when we try to assess ourselves, go back to reality. And if you're not looking at reality, then you're lying to yourself. You know, I'm doing it big. Are you lonely? Who's in your life? Who's the quality of your friends? Are you really happy? Are you clear on what makes you happy? Right? If you're not honest about those things, you can really sit up in a room for hours and convince yourself of this lie that helps you stay dead. Because if you're not moving forward, you're dying. I'm going to keep it simple. If you're not moving forward, no, there is no resting point. As long as you're alive, you got to move. When you decide to stop moving, don't be surprised. How many times have you seen somebody who's impactful in society, or they're married in a relationship and they're moving and they're living, and then something happens where whatever helped them move stopped moving, and they stopped moving and they died instantly? We're designed to move. So this whole idea of you doing anything, if you're going to create a business, stop thinking about creating a business so I can get rich and then I'm going to be done, or I'm going to hit a goal and I'm going to be done. You're creating a lifestyle. It's going to be one of the channels you're going to move in for the rest of your life. This is why when you design stuff, you have to design it for the long run. I have partners who, when somebody new comes to work out with me for the first time, and I say, hey man, I'm going to ride today. I'm going to do like 30 miles. They be like, yo, let's do 55 today. And I tell them, hey, no offense, go by yourself. He said, why? I said, because I'm trying to do this for the rest of my life. And if I get into some of these little crazy surges, that's me being, like, I had a partner when we first trained, I bet him $10,000, and I'm about to ask him for my money. I said, dude, you're not going to last. He said, I am. He started, he would ride 60 miles and 25 of them be hills. Right? He lost hella weight. He said, I told you I was going to last. I said, no, you're not. I saw him the other day. He rolled by me on a bike. I didn't know who the fuck he was. He was so fat. And they're talking about this happened in like a year and a couple of months. He went from like court size to almost Biggie Small size. And you know why? Because he thought he had a destination. When I work out, there's no destination. My only destination is until I go on to the next life. While I'm here, I'm moving. I don't give a shit if all I could do is just roll that thing. You know, with the old people, they just do this. When for therapy, they just do this, and they call it that old people cycle. You know, right? I don't give a shit if I'm in a swimming pool moving those balls around, going, yeah, I'm exercising. But I'm like Jack LaLanne. I'm moving till I die. That way, it's not only because I want to be physically super fit, because life says at some point, evolution says it doesn't care. You gotta go. But I want to be present as much as my mind, body, and spirit will allow me to be present to enjoy the gifts of life itself. And so at the end of the day, this evolution game doesn't care. It don't care about your beliefs. It don't care if you've been here and your lineage has been here for millions of years. If you don't follow rules of evolution, you die. And so in business, stop thinking if somebody take your place. If you're in a relationship and you dead, and one day you come home and somebody took your place, don't blame your spouse. You stopped moving a long time ago. That's just life itself. I be cold-blooded. Don't be surprised if you're a mother or dad and your kids start calling somebody else mom and dad because you dead. That's life itself. Life keeps moving. It doesn't care. And do me a favor. Don't come tell me that sad ass story, because I know the end results anyway. You wasn't moving and now you did, so now you mad because who is he to take your woman from you, and he disrespected you, and he should have just disrespected your dead position and allowed everything dead around you to stay dead. No. The rules of evolution says if you leave resources on the table and we're trying to survive and you're not trying to protect and not trying to grow your resources, we will take them from you.
Yeah,
that's life.
It's a cold game. Some of the best advice my mom gave me is during a time where I crashed and burned the first time. and I went to her house, and she was like, "Boy, you looking dry around the mouth." She's like, don't let your ideas of how the world be define you. If you become a homeless hobo on the street, it don't matter what you've accomplished so this far, people gonna walk right over you. They're gonna step right over you and keep it moving. That's what she told me. Said, clean your shit up. Go clean up. Get your shit together. Be the best you can be. And that was like one of the sparks, because that's life. It doesn't matter what you've done, where you've been, who owes you. Nobody gives a fuck. And the way this world moves, there's always going to be the universe abhors a vacuum. That's a scientific term. The universe abhors a vacuum. That's why in space there's vacuum and matter in vacuum. Because it hates an empty space. If you dig a hole, you come back a year later, that hole has been filled by nature. Wind, rocks, water, mud. Over time, that hole you dug is going to be back regular. So that's the laws of nature. It doesn't give a fuck about what you did. So you got to move accordingly, knowing that the purpose that you hear, your purpose on this earth, you're here to add value to this planet, to add value to life, to add value. So if you decide you want to just give up on life, and you got your eyes closed, but you kind of crack them open, looking around for like somebody to show up, they ain't gonna show up. You got to get the fuck up, figure it out, and keep progressing.
Okay, can I say something that can get me canceled in class? So, hey, y'all get your cancel cards out, because I'm about to get paid. Nature doesn't wait on us. Nature doesn't serve us. We serve nature.
Absolutely.
Religious narcissism. I call it religious narcissism. God doesn't serve us. We serve God.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you what kills me. God, why me?
Because you're a knucklehead.
Well, no. First of all, the rule of there's a mental model called catalyst. Catalyst says something negative has to happen for the betterment of the whole group survival. Sometimes something negative has to happen. I mean that there's proven a great starvation may make human races better. A war makes people better. Death makes people better, right? Because the human race left alone at its own demise is self-destructive. So life has these catalysts to make the group survive and become stronger. Evolution also kills off the weak so the strong can protect its survival. Ouch.
True
So what does
story.
that mean? And I'm saying this for a reason. I don't care what religion you, Muslim, Christian, whatever. I hear this amongst African Americans a lot. We talk about as God served us. God took care of me. God did this for me. Last time I checked, rain didn't come down because I said it should rain. I've done hella rain dances in my living room. It was been dry in California for a long time. Either I can't dance or it's not working. I know that's hard to accept.
It's real.
But if you accept it, because I think you guys got to think, there's 8 billion people in this world in this today. Millions are coming on this earth daily, and millions are dying daily for millions of years. But all of a sudden today, because you're awake, you think the world is built around you. The world is, I used to call the world like 24-hour fitness. You get what you put into it.
Okay. All right. Let me
I'm cancel. Go ahead. It's
let me
okay.
double
Just-
that up, and I'm
go ahead.
gonna join you.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna join you again.
Okay,
cancel.
come on, bro. Let's do this, man. Go hang out with Dave Chappelle. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I like him anyway. So then I'll double up on that then and use that same idea to say, in relationships, a lot of times I see a lot of women complain about the single life and wanting men or anyone, opposite sex or same sex, whatever, to show up for them in a certain way. I need him to show up for me like this. I need him to be like this.
Josh,
I have a
Curry canceled
list.
class.
I have this that I need him to do. He got to do this. He got to do that. And there's very little to none I ever hear about how the fuck are you going to serve him? What are you doing to serve him? Because it's the same. Him showing up to you is a form of him serving you. He's serving you. So, but if you have no plan, no game plan of how you're going to serve him, then that the universe is going to do the same shit to you. Cancel you. Because if we don't know how to serve each other, show up for each other, it's an act of service. And a lot of times people be hella irritated, both men and women, hella irritated because either how come that corny ass dude gets the woman I want, or how come that dude gets the woman I want? He ain't fly like me, ain't this? How come that homely girl gets? They always get the men, because that's surface bullshit. Underneath that veil, you'll see reciprocal acts of service happening.
So is there the class go down to 2 people? But this, what we're trying to say is that the universe has a group of rules that if we don't abide by, we die. Yeah. And whether you call it universe, whether you call it Mother Nature, whether you call it God's rules, you abide by them, you die. You don't get to override that because you watch so much TV and you feeling yourself. You don't get to ride that because you think you special. You don't get to override that because you call yourself king and queen. You don't get to ride that because you got a lot of money. You don't get to ride that because you hella buff. You don't get to override it because you can run really, really fast. You don't get to override it because you have a beautiful mate. You don't get to override that because you're a good, caring person who loves your kids. At the end of the day, you are bound by rules you don't override. This is so important because when you run business, businesses are bound by rules. In business, it's criminal for me to give you the idea of just do. Because the rule of life says life is never the same. A perfect strategy will never be perfect by every person who applies it. You have to bring a certain degree of evolutional creativity, right? Because evolution says things are always changing. It's always changing. So even what worked today for me, if you try it 5 to 10 years from now, may not work at all. It's timing. So there's principles and there's values here that I don't control. You don't control. We can argue and waste our time with this little silly noise of going back and forth, or we can sit down and be curious about reality and try to connect and learn how to capitalize on this beautiful life that we live in. This life could be really ugly if you're trying to redefine it for yourself. But when you align and you show up, this life is a blessing. This life's a blessing. And quite often, when you echo the truth of life itself, you will be hated. Huh? They're on? Oh. So at the end of the day, like, life itself, oh God, why did you do this to me? I asked God for these shoes, he didn't give it to me. I talked to, oh God, could you take care? The shoes have always been here. The method to get the shoes have always been here. You're just disconnected, and now you want something outside the world. You won't blame God for not giving you something. The blessing has always been here. Everything you want is here. Everything you want is here. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. But when you start blaming from white people to God, you're never going to get it because the solution's in you. You're the most important person in the world. You gotta just show up and farm the land. If you farm the land, you'll see how important you are. But if you're over there just letting weeds grow on your land and you become ugly, don't blame white people. Don't blame God. Don't blame your mate. Don't blame your kids. Don't blame your teachers. What are you doing? Are you plowing the fields? Are you fertilizing the ground? Are you prepping for next winter? How are you priming yourself for growth? And this is so like, if you neglect your personal self-investment, which allows you to have the fruits of life, then you're depressed because you chose it.
Man, this shit is getting too much. We should have done this on a long night, bro.
Yeah, I know, because we're going to leave here 8:30.
Hey.
We're like, they should be on knock this mic out the word, run out the room.
I mean, think about this. Like, again, this is some deep, deep shit. So where do you begin and God end then? Where's the lever? Is it 20-80, 80-20, 90-10? That's huge to think about. Because if you think about the job you have on this earth and your capabilities, then a lot of times when you pray for something and it's crickets, it's on you, cuz.
What if God said,
It's on you, cuz.
hey, yo, it's on you, cuz.
It's on you, cuz. I've been in some horrible. I've been in some like.
Oh, if God had a bandana on, it's you, cuz.
Look, I've been in some really rough life situations. Depressive, suicidal, homeless, all of the deep shit, right? And the times I prayed and nothing happened was the best thing that happened to me. Because I had to look around. Nope, nobody's there. And once I got to an ability to defeat that particular issue, then I'm over it. And it doesn't, like anything similar in its capacity that runs across me, it doesn't even affect me. So that means I just taught myself how to fish. And even in the Bible, it talks about that, where it talks about the bridegrooms and the brides, and they have lamps, and one set had lamps, and the other, I mean, they all had lamps, but some of them didn't have the oil, and some did because they was all in a rush. And then the ones that ran out and stuff got dark, they were like, "Yo, give me yours." Are you crazy? We came prepared. You didn't. Bye. Because that's mental. That's using your brain that God gave you. That's using the best of yourself that you have and the progressiveness of you to continue to expand and grow. This is so important to understand and think and learn that in business, there's nobody coming, because business is reality. It's your bank account. It's your numbers. So if you don't get clear on this, then you'll always run into a space where you're looking around or asking for help, or your shoulders drop because you're like, fuck, these people ain't, hey, man, this shit is whack, man. They should give us. They ain't coming.
Can I share something before Chris, before you speak real quick? I want to share something that seems woo, real woo. So, 510 Media, we're in the early stages. And our rent was I think it was like $1,700 a month. But the cost to make sure that Mashama got a paycheck, and I at least had enough to pay my rent, I think we had to hit like $6,000, right? And that way he would get his paycheck, I pay the rent, and I would have something. This is like our first 1 or 2 years, right? And this is when I knew the power of the universe around me. I knew if I went out over a weekend, I can go find $1,000. I can't tell you where. If I told, hey, Chris, I'm about to leave and go find $1,000, I can't even tell you where I'm going to go. I was just trying to figure out where are people going to be at and where can I show up in that space, right? And somehow I'm going to walk out with $1,000 with no desire to con or manipulate anybody. So this 1 month came around and we were $500 short. $500 short. I told Mashama, we $500 short? Cool. I'll be back this weekend. So where you gonna get it from? Don't worry about it. I'll go hang out where some people are at. I'll grab my photos, my photography, and I just a picture, just with photos, no words, no sales, no business cards, and I went out. By the time I came home, I had $1,000. And what it was is because this is what I discovered. This is where the philosophy comes from. The blessings have always been here for me. Am I showing up for them? Am I doing the work? Do I believe? Am I stepping out? Or am I sitting in my own head and thinking about what I can't do? Am I sitting, and I promise you to this day, even right now, I told Mashama, I said, Mashama, I need to put us in a different house. I want to buy us a house up in either Berkeley Hills or Kensington. And so Shakina came by my house the other day. She said, "Oh, you looking at houses?" And I said, "Yeah, but don't worry about it. It's something I do." What I didn't tell her was I often will look at where I'm going next and say, "This is where I'm going next," right? And what happened is that because I say I'm going there, I will then manifest it, right? Because everything I need is here. Everything I need is here. But how am I showing up? Now, I don't look at it as a straight line. I say, okay, keep growing, keep investing, keep connecting, keep building, keep moving forward, and I will manifest that. But the key word is I'm moving forward. What I'm not doing is just doing the same old thing every day and hoping somebody out the sky is going to come and give me something. Very good.
Just so you all don't get canceled, I want to put it back in perspective. The story, Court, you know this one since you be preaching doing revivals every week with the Bible. The dude at the pool for 38 years, and he's around a bunch of sick people the whole time. And then Jesus rolls up and is like, "Hey, you want to get well?" And he came up with all the excuses. He's like, "I don't have nobody to put me in the pool. Every time somebody get in front of me, I can't do it." And he's like, "Do you want to get well?" And then he said, "Rise, take up your bed and walk." And so that's crazy because he was waiting on God to do it for him when sometimes God wants to do it through you. And he didn't even use the method of the pool. It was just like, get up. And I think that miracle doesn't get as much attention because it puts us in a place of responsibility of like, wait, I'm in control of this particular healing in this particular moment.
That's the game.
You're not. I mean, but that's. So the reason human beings the reason we tell fairy tales and stories is because life itself is chaos with very little order. But our brain needs to only see order because human beings hate chaos, because chaos creates a high level of fear because it represents a threat to us as human beings. We need order and structure for survival. Let me share this with you guys real quick. So I'm now working out. I'm in a groove now. Benching back to 315, comfortable, bar dips, pull-ups, squats, deadlifts, shoulder press, curls, running stairs, cycling 6 days a week. Comfortable, right? Sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night. Comfortable. About 6 months ago or 8 months ago, I really got out of shape. Man, I got pretty out of shape. So much out of shape that I think, no, it was about a year ago. Maybe about a year ago, because I'm bad with days. I went to Shakina's gym, and you know, Shakina is like a mighty little horse. She just can lift everything up in the world. And you know, and she's so strong. As a man, you walk amongst women, that's just one of those little men guilt things where we want to be stronger than women no matter who they are. They could be from Russia. We got to be stronger than them, right? So I walk in the gym, and she's about to squat. I said, "Yeah, you know, I'm known for my squats." And I threw a 45 and a 25 on there. That ain't no weight. There's little Asian skinny guys killing that kind of weight. They probably use that as warm-up. I think my shin split. I had so many pains. My back almost went out. I was in the gym working out with Silas and Irk. My shoulder went out. My bicep went out. My chest went out. My neck went out. My lower back went out. My shin went out. My knees went out.
You went out.
I was out. I'm talking about, hey, look, we at the stairs, and I'm trying to keep up with the old people by walking one at a time and being safe. And remember there was a class I said, it's over with. I'm done with this. Because I realized my limitation wasn't the world or my body. It was my ability to engage. And so what I decided to do was I was going to push myself to the point of fear and see if I can get to the other side. And I remember the first time I climbed a bike, I rode my bike up this hill, a notorious 1 mile hill. I think I stopped 5 times. And all those 5 times was because I had to just stop to catch oxygen. And I had to also fight past my mental fear. Now, here's the thing. Those first 6 months of the comeback was all painful. It wasn't one workout where I said, that felt great. Every workout hurt. The day of, I doubled down on massages. Stretching, being stretched. I started stretching myself every night. I was taking a leave every night. Some part of my body was in pain, right? But here's the thing. I realized that my brain, I succumb to the limitations of my brain. And my movement forward started to slow down. And I started justifying, oh, I'm busy, got this new client, the class, got to build this, build that. But here's one thing you got to remember. If you die, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And I ain't planted the tree so strong where my daughter can eat the fruits off that tree even when I'm gone. So I got work to finish doing because I planted the seeds, but now I got to water the land and I got to make sure that none of the natural predators of that tree destroy it in my lifetime. What I'm arguing is that this business thing is the exact same thing. When you first tell me you're excited about going to start a business, it's just like when you first talk about going to the gym and you ain't worked out a day of your life. It's exciting. You did your tour of the gym. You went shopping at Nike, got you some clean ass Nikes, nice sweatsuit. You even bought fancy machines and fancy drinks and liquids, and you may even brought a new refrigerator so you can house a new food. You may even hire somebody to cook your food for you. But what you don't see is what's to come. Reality has rules. Friction is waiting on you, number one. Meaning if you decide you want to move forward, there's something designed to stop you. And the first obstacle and the biggest obstacle is self. Other obstacles are going to be all the natural things that will stand in your way. If you stop at any point to over-focus on an injury or a point of resistance, that is your resistance. You have to be able to say, this is stopping me, this is causing friction. How do I evolve to go to the next level to get around this or to shrink the level of the friction? Right? How do I smoothen my action? Because the way you reduce friction is by smoothing the object that's rolling against. If you smooth the two things that's touching each other, the friction is reduced. So how do you improve the way you move by the amount of knowledge you grow to smoothen the way that you move through your obstacles? If you don't get that point, you at your house mad at police, mad at white people, mad at your husband, mad at your job, mad at your dog, mad at your insects, mad at God. Because at the end of the day, you stopped to give the friction point too much attention. Now, here's where you're going. When you get over that hill of the pain, the pleasure starts. See, I've grown my business to a point I'm in a pleasurable space now. It's still hard work. Some days I get friction points. Some days I hit obstacles because remember, you never stop growing. The journey changes. You'll have some days you might do a dip. Some days you're going to hit a wall. But you're also always investing so when that wall comes, you start to, you'll lay your backpack on the ground, open it up, and start pulling out your tools and get ready to go over that wall. But if you stop investing, if you get over that hill and you say, you know what? I'm over the hill now. Money good, life good, I can chill.
No.
You'll slide all the way back to the bottom again.
No.
And all those pains that you went through, they're going to be refreshed, renewed, and improved. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, you're going to feel like, oh my God, this is so hard. Some of you will never, ever take that journey again. Because you will all of a sudden have nightmare flashbacks of those nights you was in the cold, those nights you was left half dead, those nights when you was cut up and beat up to the point you felt every pain. You're going to remember all those pains, and your brain is going to amplify. And even though you only got hit once in the jaw, your brain going to talk about all the teeth that fell out, how you was on ICU, how you was in ICU, when the only thing that happened was you got hit in the jaw. Because your brain's going to amplify all those pains. What I'm suggesting to you is anytime you decide to grow, do not think the world is going to give you growth. The world will never reward you. The world is not going to celebrate you. The world will celebrate you once you finish your accomplishments. And in that process, you have to experience pain. Pain is a path you have to take to get to the next level. But as long as you avoid pain, as long as you stay safe and comfortable, as long as you don't take any risk, as long as you ain't pushing yourself too hard because it's rough out here, you are destroying yourself. You're dying.
Okay. And here's some game too. Is that in that journey, how do you extract the how do you create progression from pain? How do you create it? How do you extract it? It's what can I learn from this situation? That's the question. What can I learn from this? No matter what you've gone through in life, if you're working on your ascension and you're going for it and you're not afraid and you take those bumps, you take them hits, you take them crashes, you take whatever, a L, if you can ask yourself or you can be present enough in a moment to ask yourself, all right, shit. All right, well, taking radical responsibility, that's an important one. Because not just what can I learn from it? Well, I learned he ain't shit. No. Taking radical responsibility, what can I learn? Meaning what can I do better? What could I have done better? What kind of research, what could I do better? It's me. That's how you extract the power from that lesson, and that's how you progress. Because next time, you just upgraded your software. You just upgraded your software. And the beauty of this exercise is if it's a good hindsight exercise, meaning you still have an opportunity to learn from past L's that you took that you just walked right on through. Or if you're having patterns of the same shit, man, why do I just keep attracting these dudes? And why do I keep fucking with this dude, this type of dude? Or why do I keep taking this job and keep getting fired this way? Or why do I keep fighting in the middle of the street because I got road rage? If you ask what can I learn, you just upgraded yourself. And that's how you progress. And if that question is always lingering at the tip of your brain as you're moving, good and bad, shit, okay, what could we have learned? What could we do better? I mean, I had one of the worst weeks I've had. I mean, I won't say worst weeks because I've had worse. I've had one of the toughest business weeks I've had in years. And in the middle of the chaos, it's like, fuck, all right. I didn't just get punched in the stomach. I got punched in the face, stomach, picked up, body slammed. But what can I learn? What can I learn from it? What can I have done? What could I do better? Oh, shit, and I found it. Me and him talking back and forth. I'm like, oh, shit, that's what it is. I was just like hella gung-ho from the beginning, hella overly shooting my shot. And that's what started the whole progression. If I just start at A, all the rest wouldn't have never happened. Like, those questions you ask yourself are pivotal, because if not, you'll be in a spin cycle and you'll never know why the fuckery is happening.
And let me say this quick. I think we're going to just probably I think we're only going to be able to talk about evolution because in 20 minutes we're going to end this class sharply because I get ready for this retreat. But let me say this real quick. One of the ways you know you're not training, so there's two things I noticed, two ways that people can go to the gym 7 days a week and not change. Same thing for business. Let's say you go to the gym for 7 days a week and you never feel pain. Oh. No change.
Yeah, what the
Or, let me even make it worse. Let's say you go to the gym 7 days a week with a trainer, and trainer says, go until you can't go no more, and you stop when your mind says stop. Next year, you'll probably be bigger. Why? Because you're avoiding facing the pain.
You're on a treadmill like this.
Right. Now, let me show you balance to this. There's the other stream. The other stream of the pendulum is you have an injury and you keep pushing yourself, and now you're out the gym, and now you gain weight again. So it's a smart balance. It's not extreme pain, it's smart pain. Pain is a tool that we have that allows us to connect, have a healthy relationship with reality itself. You ever heard this? The mental models are like this. So the mental model we talked about tonight was a mental model of evolution. Mental models are like free speech. When people say free speech, we believe in it until it works against us, right? But even when it works against you and you don't like it, you realize you got to respect it. Because at the end of the day, it's a freedom that we all appreciate, but it don't mean we don't always like it, right? And sometimes that beautiful idea of free speech, the word says free speech, well branded, can be very, very painful. Somebody can even call it being bullied, right? Dave Chappelle said what he said. Legally, he has the right to say what the fuck he wants to say. He just can't scream fire in a movie theater and force people to run out and hurt themselves. But if he wants to say something in this country, you have the right to say what you want to say. Well, that's how reality works. Reality ain't what we like all the time. You ain't gonna like reality all the time. I ain't never loved my workouts all the time. I ain't gonna never love my workouts all the time. Matter of fact, I probably dislike. I mean, one day I woke up. My wife said, "Where you going?" I said, "Oh fuck, I gotta work out." So why you mad? I said, "It's a healthy pain. I'm about to go deal with this shit." And I walked into my pain. Because at the end of the day, what I realized is that the more I develop a comfort with pain, the better I'm going to do in reality. Make-believe living is because we can't stand the pain.
Fuck. All right, dude. So, my best friend, one of my best friends, he used to play for the Seattle Seahawks, and he gave me some shit, gave me some game without even knowing it. He was like, in football, when you get hurt on the field, the first thing that the doctor comes down, the physician comes down and asks you, are you hurt or are you injured? Are you hurt or are you injured? If you hurt, we're going to rub this shit out and get you back on the field. If you're injured, you got to go. So, and you got to know the difference. Because if you always hurt and playing like you injured, you ain't going to be in the league long. You ain't going to be in the game. You fucking up everybody's money. So, and you also have to be smart enough to know that if you're injured, because you gotta just don't play on that injury, because now you're gonna be out for the season. So that's the dynamic that you have with pain. You gotta know when you're hurt, you gotta know when you're injured, and you gotta play accordingly, and you gotta play it well. Because if not, you'll be out for the sidelines for a year or ever trying to muscle through injury, or you'll be a mark because you always faking like you injured when it's just pain, and that's just gonna warm up and you will be good later.
Matter of fact, that's a place where Bill Maher talked about. We're expanding definitions now. So now hurt is injured for a lot of people. Right? Oh, I'm hurt. You're not injured. Shut the fuck up. This is when you come in front of me, and I look in your eyes and says, "Man, fuck your emotions." Because you emotionally overextended an idea. It's the same thing that when you meet somebody who has a trainer and the trainer says, push yourself, they're like, I want to do 3, it's just hurt my shoulder, trainer, it hurts my shoulder. And so I go to gym with Silence Saturday. I say, Silence, I have this injury in my shoulder. He's like, I want to bench press. I said, fuck it, I'm going to try to bench press. My shoulder hurts. So we put a single 45 on there. And I pushed, I was like, I can feel it in my shoulder. Ouch, fuck, that hurts. I said, I don't know what's going on with this shoulder. It's tweaking every once in a while. And I don't know if it's because of my sleep or what's happening, right? And I'm stretching, keep my stretch going. So then Silence says, okay, you going to sit it out? I said, no, throw another plate on there. So I got 225, hit it 10 times. I said, cool, throw 35 on there real quick. Hit it 8 times. I said, okay, now throw 3 plates on there. He said, dude, what are you? I thought your shoulder hurt. I said, yeah, but sometimes when I feel pain, it helps me heal if I push myself a little bit harder. Because sometimes the pain, sometimes my body has a way of realigning itself from the push. And now go along with my chiropractor and my stretch therapist. She said, most people who do a lot of weightlifting don't really need a chiropractor because their muscles keep their bones aligned.
Hey, okay, and here's some dope shit. Because it's called evolution. You're either growing or you're dying, right? So here's a beautiful part. Your body and mind, everything is working for your growth or your death. So once you give your body the signal that you're not going to stop, it's going to make the adjustments for you. Oh, shit. Okay, this is the second time. This dude keeps doing this shit. All right, you guys, everybody, make the adjustments, and your body will start making the adjustments for you, healing you, moving things, making you stronger. Like you're giving signals to your bodies based on your patterns. So what's dope about that is that if you say, I'm gonna do this, and your body's like, no, we don't want to do that. No. And you're like, nope, motherfucker, heavier. It's like, all right, y'all, he's not gonna stop. So let's make all the adjustments for him, because this dude is crazy. That's how your body works. That's how muscles get developed, get bigger, get stronger, brain power because your body's job for you is to survive. So in its mind, whatever you're doing outside of your skin, it's like, hey, in order for us to survive, we got to prep for what he's doing. That's how metabolism works up and down. That's how muscles get built. That's how businesses get built.
And which then brings us full circle to the limiting beliefs. Once you believe you can't because white people won't let you, society don't care, no one ever helped you, you came from the hood, your teachers didn't believe in you, I didn't go to college, I don't have enough money right now, I ain't never did it. Once you buy into that, it's no different than me buying into me being hurt. We don't realize our brain, we're too hurt focused. We're so foo-foo focused. We're using the word, you abused me. You mean because I challenged you? Did I call you out your name? Did I slap you across your face, tie you up, and pour water and waterboard you? But I challenge you and you say you abused me. We're confusing, we're becoming so soft that when it's come time to, when you have to put 100 employees on your back and drive them through the storm, you too soft. You can't carry that weight. Before you can carry 100 people to the next destination, you gotta get some strong shoulders. You gotta get that back strong. And getting that back strong is having a different conversation. That safe space, soft ass shit you hearing everywhere around you is not qualifying you to carry the load. Because when you carry the load, and if your light starts to shine and you start to spark and people start to see that diamond across the hall, you got to also be able to hold off your enemies while you're climbing. How are you doing that with your soft-ass emotions?
You on fire today, bro. I just got to say that.
I'm going to be in trouble.
You on fire today.
At least you can be my brother.
Of course.
Go ahead.
I got just another more thank you, because the point about fuck your emotions is not saying don't have them.
Oh, no,
it's not
emotions are
demonizing
important.
emotions.
You can't avoid them.
And it's so easy to hear when you say that, like, oh, he's saying emotions don't matter, but emotions do matter. That's not at all.
That's not in the conversation.
That's not at all what you're saying. And the point about if you hurt and you plan like you injured, you got to go because you're fucking up everybody's money. The idea that you should be able to get into the business game just because people should let you in, as if it's not already like you
White
can't
people owe
just
you
walk
shit.
into keep people's club and be like, I should be here just because. No, we do things like this. So yeah.
Could you imagine, matter of fact, let's play on that
class.
thing. Could you imagine if you're a white person playing the evolution game? You live in the Midwest and you watch animals die, you watch fields, so you kind of have this natural reminder of evolution. And then somebody says, oh, we should create affirmative action. It doesn't register to you. Because, now, I don't mind you coming and take it from me. I don't mind you outsmarting me. But me giving to you for your survival, that breaks the rules. It's hard. It's hard. And look, man, white people are playing the evolution game. And evolution game means that they will step on the weak. That's how evolution is mean, man. It is some cold shit. If we understood the rules of evolution, I'm not saying you're going to forgive or let go historical wrongs. That's not what I'm arguing. What I'm arguing is it lowers the gravity of some of this stuff. You start to realize, I don't really give a shit what happened to Black Wall Street. What are we doing right now? Like, I needed to look at like Wall Street to look for human characteristics that are seen, like human behavior patterns that you start to say, hey, by default, if this happened, human beings will usually respond like this. So you start to learn the rules of the universe that don't change. There's rules that have been here that don't really ever change with human beings. Right? And so when you look at history, you want to look at, oh, this is something my ancestors didn't see. They didn't know this principle. So they built this system that was beautiful, but it lacked substance. There's a rule that says you're only as strong as your lowest needed resource. So if you leave a small resource that you need for your strength out of the category, like for example, let's say that's how a bottleneck happens in the business. If you need pepper to make this perfect dish, but it's only like 1% pepper, if I remove pepper, the dish has no value. So even though you can celebrate something your ancestors did, you got to look for what is that 1% or 2% they didn't know that we need to incorporate, and what is it we're not seeing that we need to incorporate to compete in this game. Mm-hmm. And the rule says, if you not okay, so let's go back to what Court said. You're on the field, and you're acting like Kyrie Irving, so you're threatening our ability to perform, right? So in the end, the team will over time work to remove you. That's how humans work. That's the rule of human beings, period. Black people, us not moving forward is priming our own genocide. Because at some point, people got to go.
Hey, I got a story. It's all part of my fun week, right? So, you know, we invest in, not investing, but we are starting to deal with NBA players in our business. And so one of the NBA players that we were working with last year, top kid in the nation, number one point guard in the country, and he wanted to fuck with us. We like, dope. So, and then he ended up playing for the Ignite G League team, which was housed in Walnut Creek. Dope. Now we close. We can do the photo shoots. We can do all the shit. We don't have to fly blood out. It's all good. Draft day comes. He's not picked at all. So we're like, what the fuck? Nobody's saying anything. So that means his stock went down to nothing. Fortunately, we hadn't invested any money, but it was like that was one of our guys of a few we had on our list. So I finally got the skinny on what happened. So when I was in New York over the weekend, I'm like, so what happened to this kid? He said everything was fine. Number one, he was going to be the next Jason Kidd. And he got to Walnut Creek in the bubble. And when the NBA scouts came to watch him, he had gained 20 pounds. Ooh. So they're thinking, what the fuck? He can't control his weight. He's fat. He's fat in there, and he's bubbled up, and he's slow. And so all the NBA scouts preparing for the draft got scared. Just that one move. This kid's been playing his whole life. And in that 1 month period, that's what fucked up his draft. 1
month. That's evolution. That's evolution.
That's evolution, because guess what? Some other kid took his spot. So what? It's done.
Life doesn't care.
Life doesn't care.
Life doesn't
Ain't
care.
That some shit?
It's just life doesn't care about. He could be the nicest kid in the world, help 100,000 homeless people, wake up every morning to serve others, takes care of his grandmother. He's the only one alive. His father got killed in something. Evolution says, I don't care. That's why, like us giving so much weight to opinions and stories. Like, for example, when I was listening, I remember when, this last couple of weeks, Dave Chappelle has been in the news about what he said in his comedy skit.
Hella funny, by the way.
And, yeah, it was funny. And here's the thing that blew my mind. We're sitting here discussing opinions. It was a group of people at Netflix, a small group over here, posted their opinions. We haven't really polled all transgender, all LGBTQ plus people, right? And a lot of LGBTQ plus and transgender, we don't really know those numbers. But the media grabbed the smallest portion of opinions. And now we're sitting here, Dave Chappelle just shared opinion. They gave their opinion, and it became dominant news, and some people got hurt. Do you understand? This is when you get to the point you're not disconnected from reality. So then you wonder why you're losing in this world, because you're not doing what you were put here to do. You're here for a specific purpose. Now, in that purpose, you have choices. You can say, hey, you want this role, that role, this role, this role, but you have a purpose. When you run from your purpose, and here's the thing, your body, just as you blink when dust is flying in your eyes, just as when you feel heat, you jump back. Your body is designed to show up for your purpose. Some of y'all are like, I've never been happy, and I don't know how I can find happiness, because you are disconnected. In order for you to find happiness, you're going to walk a blind walk for a minute. Because when you normalize death is just trying to chill, just trying to do the same thing every day, just trying to be a destination-based human being. You normalize death. You listen to death music, you watch dead TV, you have dead-ass friends, and everything about you is just dead. When you decide you want to go towards life, the walk is a blind walk because you can't recognize it. You don't even understand it. It feels so foreign, it feels like somebody put a black veil over your eyes. You're going to then have to trust in those, because there's so many pipelines that are telling you this is what life really is. And when you first take that walk, in many cases, joining the military is even an act of life. A military is a part of life. And if you first join boot camp those first 6 months, it can feel like, oh my God, this is crazy. Right? But it's when you get to the other side, light is finally revealed, and you're like, I can't believe I was on this other side. But when you're over here, you also can't believe the other side exists as well. So it's not like you're walking a path of natural belief. You're not going to feel good on this path. So stop telling me about all this good feeling shit and trying to pamper yourself. Just like the fat girl or the fat dude who wants to be skinny, and they keep hitting on these shortcuts. I had friends back in the 90s who wanted to be thin, and they wouldn't get their stomach stapled, but it wasn't for medical reasons. They just wanted to be clean or whatever. The mindset was the same. Now they got this weird fat body. It don't even make sense no more because they didn't realize you have to take the journey. There's no shortcuts for this. Success is not a fast, quick scheme. It's not a, let me flip it real quick. It's not a Atkins diet. It's not a wear a waistband. It's not a shock system. It's not a pill you're going to take. It's a slow-ass journey of a different mindset of facing yourself, and yourself is your greatest fear. Any questions online before we go home? Because I ain't lying. 8:32. Cool. As they say in Brooklyn, we got to get out of here and go hang out with our black folks for the weekend. We got some black folks coming this weekend? Maybe we got. You know what's so funny? It's so cool this year. Other 26 or 27 people that's going to be up in Tahoe this weekend, I think only 5 I know who they are. I mean, I've seen them face to face. Maybe 5 or 6. That's crazy. That's a blessing. We're going to have fun. This will be a very, very powerful weekend. We prepared a cool little workshop booklet that we're going to work out of this weekend. So when you arrive, this is going to be your journal/booklet. We have exercises. When you leave here, you're not only going to gain self-awareness, but you'll also be able to take this home and reflect on yourself. And then we're going to leave a lot of time for peer talk, Q&A, conversations, debates, argument. Hey, look, debates are good. As long as we stay respectful, debates is what lions do to become stronger. Lions and lions wrestle to stay strong. So we're welcoming debates. We're welcoming challenges. We're working with. I don't know if I agree with that. Let's sit around the table, around the campfire, and let's discover self. Let's come back stronger. Let's come back more connected. You will be in a safe space, meaning that no one's going to shit on your past, your history, and your experiences in that context. But you're also going to be in a space where we're going to challenge you to be stronger and show up. And because at the end of the day, almost everybody who's going to be here this weekend, your greatest obstacle is not people, your job, white people, God. Your greatest obstacle is yourself. And so in this journey, it's a weird balance because you're going to have to fight, but you also got to be kind to yourself. You also have to love yourself. You also have to value yourself. And because if you don't love yourself and you don't value yourself, when that voice starts talking, you'll believe it because you already hate yourself or you already don't like yourself. So when that voice tells you something negative, you'll start to buy into it. And I can't begin to tell you how many people I know lives are destroyed behind a story they tell themselves. When you hear somebody says, I'm a thug, what the fuck is that? And now your life is dictated by that. I'm a dope dealer. I'm a gangster. I'm a player. I'm a pimp. I'm a con artist. I don't give a fuck. I don't like this. These things we tell ourselves, even when you say, at the end, first thing, you're a human being. That's the rules of nature. You're a human being. 2, you have a group that you belong to. If you're not aware of where you fit in the cycle of evolution, you don't even know how to show up every day. And you will think you're valuable because you go to work every day and you get a paycheck and you go to sleep and you wake up. You make love really good to your partner. You go to your kid's baseball game. And then what's going to hurt your feelings is you're going to discover you still ain't built nothing. You still ain't built a roof over your life. So with that being said, we'll see y'all next week. We got to get to this retreat. Turn the cameras off, lights out. We out of here.